Das Panjanya, my friend. So you want to be a game master. You, sir, must learn how to pivot. Be prepared to pivot. 100 years ago, 50-odd years ago, when I first started to be the game master in the late 70s, early 80s, right? 5 decades. We're all on the same page here. Gray hair and all the other crazy go with it, right? We didn't know this concept of railroading that has become very well known today. You were the DM, the dungeon master, and your job was to create everything that everybody else was going to get to tear up, tear into, and have fun with. So yeah, we did a lot of the bulk work. Over the decades, though, this is probably a very good thing for new game masters. This philosophy that we currently now are embracing and trying to embrace even harder, right? And the idea that your players are going to contribute quite a bit to the creation of the world that they're playing in, i.e. the sandbox. Ideally, the factions and the interactions and all the other stuff that goes on the table should come from them. But this still leaves a wide range of things for us to deal with. So perhaps, just for example, you spend the entire week, 20 hours, and you've figured out this great dungeon lair. You've got a real spooky cavern entrance, fields of bones laying around. You hear some distant rumblings deep in the earth as you approach. There's steam or smoke, leaking out of the cavern and from a couple other points on the big hill. And suddenly your players go, you remember that tower, those tower ruins that we passed on the way up here? Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I think we should go back and check it out. We should go look at that one first. You never know what's in there. And then what do? If you're the GM and you've established this is where the next leg of the campaign is going to go, and you've got all your bells and whistles lined up, all the ducks are in a row, all the dots are dotted, T's are crossed, except the party don't want to play there. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. This has affected me numerous times back in the day. It still affects me occasionally today. It surprises me when I kind of lose my cool over something. Then I stop and I think about, oh crap, maybe I've gone into now I'm trying to be a conductor of a railroad, which is not what we want to do. So you have to be able to pivot. You need to be able to change. I call firing from the hip. I refer to that in a lot of videos over the years, firing from the hip. You never know what your players are going to do, and they may totally, because it is a sandbox. Now, if you've narrowed the field to a point where the sandbox only includes the things you've populated it with, fine. And your players are on board with that, fine. But don't expect it to work that way. So you create 20 hours worth of work, and in 2 seconds or 20 seconds or a minute at the table, and the group at the table decides they don't want anything to do with it. They want to go somewhere else. Well, railroading would be to find convenient ways to keep turning the party around until they end up going through the thing you wanted them to go through. We want to avoid this. Well, I don't have anything prepared for that ruins of a tower that you passed earlier in the day or yesterday. I guess we'll just all have to call the game today, and I'll do something for next week, and we'll go there. That's often one of those things that happen. And as a GM, you got to kind of prepare, right? Remember that module thing? When I talk about modules are your friends, I mentioned it in the modules, and I mentioned it in numerous other videos on the channel. That's what the damn modules are good for. Suddenly, everything you prepared is no longer viable. If you have conveniently available to you a handful of modules or a whole freaking bookcase full, you wouldn't be much of a new GM if you had a full bookcase of stuff, I would imagine. But let's just say you do. And you can go over there and pull off one of those modules you're already familiar with that has a tower in it of some sort, or some kind of thing that can represent the tower or the ruins thereof. Bing, bang, boom. Now you're covered for the session. Now you're covered for the session, and by the next session, the party's committed to that tower. And now you can map out the tower, you can stock it, you can put loot in it, you can put the baddies in it. Just saying. Be prepared to shelve everything you did for the day to go off on a tangent with your players. Be prepared. Now, a common thing that I have done over the decades in this kind of scenario is that I will cherry pick parts of my, if I've already got this Temple of Doom created and the players don't want, I made such a good job of making it spooky that they don't want anything to do with it, or they just don't want to go through yet another tomb, which is a common problem. There'll be other videos for that. I'm going to look at the sections in it, and I'm going to say, okay, what does a tower consist of? X amount of floors. I can pick this room. All right, this works. And whatever's in there is in there. Or you make one on the fly. This is where the player's mapping comes in. Fine, you guys want to go half a day back to go through a ruined tower you passed and stuck your nose up at the other day. Good. We're all good for it. Here's a piece of piece of paper and a pencil. You're going to have to map where you're going. And of course, you have your little sketch pad and you map yourself as best you can so you know where the party is and where the party's been. Then you can pull out those trusty random encounter tables. Well, I don't use random encounter tables because, well, why don't you use them? Well, they're stupid and pointless. Well, you're stupid and pointless. Welcome to married life, right? Get me off on a tangent on that. We'd be here all damn day. Okay. So my point being is, expect the unexpected at the table. Expect that your adventure might end real soon. That's a different video altogether. When half the party dies, or one party member dies or quits and the whole party decides, let's start over again. It happens. But when we're talking about in the group, so the players you left them at a cliffhanger on the last session, and so they're sitting in front of a door that's thick and brooding and has all kinds of cut marks on it from previous attempts to get in it, and blast marks from magic and etc. etc. And by dumb luck, Joe over here manages to kick a boulder or kick a pebble, and the door unlocks. What do you do now? Well, we're going to go in and out. So you prepared for them to go into the other, the room of doom or whatever works for you. The bath of bats, whatever works for you. And they're looking at that door and they're thinking, no, we're just going to push that door shut and go somewhere else. Session's over. We're done. I ain't got nothing else ready to go. No. First off, you have all the material you had that got them to that point. If they got that far, they had to get back out of there. They don't just say, "Oh, we're done today," and hit reset on the damn screen. That should not how it work. If that's how you want to play at your table, it's up to you. But the unexpected is going to be part of the deal. Kind of have a couple backups. Kind of have some extra stuff laying around. Things that may not have got used on the previous campaign could now come out of your notebook and out of your storage and all this other stuff. Don't you start fading. I don't know if that's kicking in or out. All right. Anyway, I'm parked outside of Rolling Green. It's a nursing home community something in the tiny town of Nevada, Iowa. Little, 20, 30 minutes east of Ames, Iowa, home of the Hawkeyes, Iowa State University. Anyhow, right? Went in there, got 2 grease traps, fired them off. Now I'm going to go get a coffee joint and drag 200 feet of hose up a freaking hill because I'm not waiting until 8 o'clock when they close, so I'm just going to have to hoof it up a hill. That's one of the reasons I have extra hose, so I can do something like that. Anyway. Just be prepared. Like I just said there, we're talking about pivoting and so you want to be a game master. And what did I do? I went off on a completely unrelated tangent about a nursing home and a coffee place and a hill and 200 feet of hose and me hoofing it in the in the teens out here. The weather's out here is nice. When things are getting cold in Iowa, when the fat man starts putting this crap in the truck. I had to thaw out the valves this morning so I could do my jobs. Now, next time, expect the unexpected when it comes to your players. Expect at some point, if not more often than you expect, they're going to throw everything you worked and all the hard stuff you did to the dog. Because they're running the show. There's the key thing to take away from here. The players, it's not your job to entertain the players. Your job to present the players with as big a challenge as possible based on their actions, their decisions, or the lack thereof of those decisions. Till next time, my friends. Peace out.